I wanted to also ask you about the drug votes. I know you talk about getting on board with the president, what he wants to do. What's your read on the legality? Are you okay with what he's said to Congress so far? Do you think he needs to keep coming to Congress?
He declared the drug cartels, especially the drug cartels coming out of Venezuela, as a terrorist organization. They are. In 2024, we lost more people to fentanyl and drug overdoses than we did in the entire Vietnam War. That's crazy.
Hello, I'm Alex Sawyer. Welcome to the Washington Times interview with Senator Markwayne Mullin. After serving a decade in the House of Representatives, he now represents the great state of Oklahoma in the Senate. Thank you so much for taking time to sit down with us and chat. We had a lot of questions for you. With your experience in D.C., I know maybe you like to get back home as much as you can, but I wanted to ask you, what's your take to having served in the Senate since 2023 of the GOP leadership here and how they're handling specifically messaging with the shutdown?
Right. Well, it's completely different. There's huge difference between Mitch McConnell leadership and John Thune's leadership. And I think we're in great hands with Leader Thune. He's very proactive. He's got a great relationship with the White House, which obviously Mitch did not when Trump was in office in his first term. There's no daylight between us and the White House or us and the House. There's a lot more cohesiveness. When I first got here in 23, we spent half our time trying to figure out what the House was going to do. And then when John was, or Leader Thune, gave me the unofficial title to be the liaison between the two, we kind of married those together. And because I still have a lot of good friends in the House.
Right.
But it's a much different feel, which is good. I mean, obviously we're in the majority now. We're able to make actual changes. We got a president in the White House that we get along with, that we agree on the policies. So
Do you think there's more lines of communication between the Senate and the House now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There wasn't hardly any lines of communication at all. I mean, it was really odd. When I got here, I was on the whip team, the deputy whip team in the House, and started with McCarthy and then underneath Steve Scalise. When I got here, I was on the deputy whip team immediately my freshman year with Leader Thune. And it was just kind of interesting to me because we spent so much time trying to figure out what the House was going to do. Well, at that time, McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy was the speaker, and she's one of my closest friends. So I was like, well, let's just go ask. And that's how this started. So that line of communication started with Kevin McCarthy and Leader Thune, and it just kind of and morphed into now having even a stronger relationship with Speaker Mike Johnson.
I wanted to ask you also, you mentioned having close friendships still in the House, but also with the White House specifically in your line of communication there. I know you have a good relationship with President Trump. So I know a lot of others have also had good relationships with him. Sometimes it goes up and down. I'm thinking of Senator Lindsey Graham. They go back.
You're like a married couple. You go. So
I thought I would ask you, how do you manage to retain that?
Well, the president and I have never really had any differences. I mean, we've disagreed on a few policy issues, but really we both take it from a perspective of business. A lot of people that have a difference in opinion, they look at it from a political perspective, and the president never looks at it from a political perspective. He always looks at it from a business perspective, especially when it comes to policy. Now, he's very astute to the political pressure too. But when it comes to policy, it comes to making deals, it's business first. Well, we all make decisions based on two things: where, race, and their life experiences.
Right.
Before I got into politics, it was all business. Before he got into politics, it was all business. So a lot of times I see where he's coming from, and then it's just like, how do we deliver it? And it's kind of like when he was working on his nominees. He was having some nominees that were, I wouldn't say controversial. The media said they were controversial, but they were not normal nominees for these positions. But I understood it. Because if the system's broke, don't continue to try fixing it with the same type of people. Change it.
Right.
And so the president, we talk quite often. If I have a question, he is so accessible. He always answers his phone. He calls late at night or early in the morning, so you always got to be prepared for it. But we also joke a lot. So there's a lot of friendly battery or bantering.
You get his sense of humor.
I do, but he also makes fun of my kids too all the time. I mean, he sent me a text actually the other day, and just out of the blue, and says, "Tell me your wife she produces wonderful children." I was like, "Sir, I participated too." Yeah, what I mean. She's got the great genetics, and that was just out of the blue. And if you're able to see that sense of humor, you see this human side of him that truly loves America, which I get. I totally understand that. He does it not for political gain or financial gain. He does it for his love out of the country. He could be much more comfortable doing anything else. And when you have somebody like that, it makes it easy to get on board, because you know that their number one goal isn't their political future, but their number one goal is the country's future. And he truly loves his family. He truly loves his kids, his grandkids. And that's why he's doing it.
Yeah.
And so that's an easy place for us to always find common ground.
And it seems like him and his Secretary Noem with DHS, they talk a lot about the love for the country and keeping it safe was one example.
Right.
I know there's been an emphasis on making sure fentanyl stays out of the country. I know I cover the Supreme Court, so I know it's even part of the Tarek lawsuit that's about to be argued next month about emergency powers being able to protect against fentanyl getting in from various countries. I wanted to also ask you about the drug boats that we're seeing and the strikes there. I think it's killed about 40 crew members on these drug boats. I know you talk about getting on board with the president, what he wants to do. What's your read on the legality? Are you okay with what he's said to Congress so far? Do you think he needs to keep coming to Congress? Where are you on that?
He declared the drug cartels, especially the drug cartels coming out of Venezuela, as a terrorist organization. They are. I mean, you think about it. It's not terrorist organization where you think of Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Houthis, because they're kind of in the Middle East. They're not really, going after us here in the homeland. These drug cartels are. You talk about the crew members that have been killed. What about the number of family members that got killed in our streets, right? In 2024, we lost more people to fentanyl and drug overdoses than we did in the entire Vietnam War. That's crazy.
Yes.
And for the first time, someone is being proactive. Someone, meaning President Trump and his cabinet, with Secretary Noem, with Secretary Hegseth, has said, no, we're going to be proactive. We're not going to deal with you when you get to our shores. We're going to deal with you before you get to our shores. So we talk about the number of deaths of the people driving this deadly drug, this deadly product to our shores, but how many lives has it saved? And that's what the conversation needs to be. So I had zero issue with them. I mean, why would we care? They're terrorists. They're terrorizing our cities. They're terrorizing our streets. They're terrorizing our neighborhoods. They're terrorizing our families. And they don't give a rip about our families. It's all about profit for them. And for President Trump to go out there and say, we're going to stop it, good on you.
Yes. I remember, I think one of the most effective press conferences that this administration has had, I saw from Secretary Noem. I think it was she's at a podium and there was all these bags of fentanyl like stacked up in front of her, and being able to say how many Americans that would have killed,
right,
I think is very effective.
Well, I do meetings all over the country right now. I mean, literally all over the country. I think this weekend I'm going to Pocono. I'm going to Oregon. It's really a red state, right?
Not at all.
But we get invited and we go, and I always do Q&A. And I get asked this question a lot. And I ask people, how many people here know of somebody, either family, friend, neighbors, that has been affected by the drug epidemic in our country right now? Everybody.
Yeah.
Every single person. 100% unanimous. 100% all have been affected by it. That is how bad this epidemic is. And we've known it. It's been getting worse and worse. And the last time we were proactive in this way was underneath President Reagan, when we took the fight to South America. This is President Trump once again being extremely proactive and using the resources and the weight of this great country to say, we will defeat you.
Yes. I know I talked to you a little bit about your friendship with President Trump. I wanted to also ask you about your friendship with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. I know that you were instrumental in getting him confirmed,
yes,
support him. There was a little bit of pushback on his Quantico speech. Actually, we had one Army general kind of push back and said to our paper, like, quote, he lost us. I don't know. Did you think that there's anything that he needs to do to recalibrate? What do you think of his first lights?
No, when he went out there, he called the generals in. He just threw down what we call a stake. He threw down a stake and said, "Hey, listen, this is where we're at. This DEI is equality, this preference and rank. We're not that way anymore. We're not giving special preference because of your sex, because of your race, because of any of that. We're not doing identity politics. We're the Secretary of War now, and we're going to promote you based on merit. We're looking for lethality, and we're looking out for the warrior." The Department of War at that time, the Department of Defense, had got so political that they were so risk adverse. We weren't winning wars. We were winning battles. We weren't winning wars.
Right.
There's a difference. And he's changing the focus of it. He's saying, listen, you lead from the front. You see him out there working as a Secretary of War. You see him out there working out with the guys. You see him out there staying fit. You see him out there out working everybody. He's saying, I'm going to lead from example, but you're going to lead from example too. Don't sit there and think because you got a star on your shoulder, either 1, 2, 3, or 4, that all of a sudden you made it. You don't have to make the same quality as these warriors.
Right.
And if you don't like it, get the door. I love that. Yeah. You know, we from a business perspective, once again, my wife and I, we have bought a lot of businesses. We want to keep every single employee there. But
I know that you take leadership with.
Hell, I do. Absolutely. But when you start talking about businesses, though, when we would do businesses, I would go in there and say, we love every one of you all. We want to keep all you guys. But there's going to be changes. There's a reason why the company sold, the reason why we purchased it. We're going to try and make it a better environment for you, but it's not going to be the same thing. And people push back against change. Naturally, people don't like change. My wife is one of them. God forbid she married to me because we're absolutely opposite. But that's what Secretary Hegseth said. And I sent him a text message that night. And I said, brother, my chest is pumping with absolute pride for you right now. And I told the president too, I said, you picked a stud to be the Secretary of War. He's the right guy for this moment.
I want to ask you some questions about the shutdown. Some of it also have to do with health, which I know you're passionate about. The first is a little bit about talking about nuclear option with triggers, I guess, related to trying to get everything back open. But my editor was talking about, it seems all these Senate rules and stuff seem a bit complicated. I was going to say there's also sentiment about when we talk about the filibuster or going nuclear, Democrats didn't do it, but that was kind of thought because they had Manchin and Sinema. Now that they're gone, do you think that the Democrats will change it next time? And if so, why not? Why shouldn't Republicans do so now?
They could, I guess. It's going to be tough. Keep in mind the President Trump won 25 of the states in 16 and 20 and 24. And so our base is 50. But if you look at 16 and 24, he won over 30 states. So we should be able to prevent them from doing that. And I get our base right now saying, we need to do nuclear option. However, keep in mind the Democrats were saying this in 21, and during the Biden administration, we prevented Washington D.C. from becoming a state, which were getting 2 extra senators, which meant we wouldn't have ever got control of the union.
Right.
We prevented them from packing the courts, from going from
quite a bit.
Right, to 13 justices. Right. We prevented them from basically outlawing, I'm using a big term there, but making it nearly impossible for fossil fuels to be produced inside the United States. We prevented them from eliminating oil and gas pipelines, which would have drove prices through the roof. We prevented them from having the most woke DEI agenda on corporations that would have basically taken over corporate boards. So there's a lot of stuff that the filibuster works in our favor when we're in the minority. And that's what it's there for. The Senate is to give the minority somewhat of a voice to slow down sometimes the knee-jerk reaction from the House. Being that I served in both houses, you have the House that move very chaotic. They move extremely fast. And sometimes they're an emotional body, which kind of works out for me because sometimes I'm pretty emotional. And in the Senate, it's a place for everybody to take a little bit deeper of a breath until Chuck Schumer got in office. You know, it is a place for people to take a little bit deeper of a breath and quit the big swings in the government oversight, I'd say, and from one president to the next. Because since we overturned, we don't have 25-year leaders. We have a new leader basically every 8 years, and the Senate is what kind of brings a little stability there. So I would hate for us to blow that up for a short-term gain, but it's a long-term failure.
Let me ask, I know some of the pushback over the shutdown has been related to healthcare. Is there pressure coming from congressional leadership to figure out, I guess, some of those answers? What do you support at this point? Is there room to extend or expand any sort of ACA subsidies?
I think the president has made it very clear, and we have made it very clear, we want to make healthcare work for the American people, but ACA, affordable healthcare, is not affordable. There's no question. I mean, you can look at
that, like going forward, the election and 2026 election could be about healthcare.
You know, I try not to make decisions based on politics.
Right.
I think when you do that, that's what the Democrats got themselves in trouble with right now. The reason why they're in a shutdown because they decided to make, you know, that about politics, not policy. So the fact is healthcare is not working for the American people. And just look at just the statistic alone. Those people in the exchange versus private insurance that's provided by an employer health insurance program. So you have your health insurance, your employer health programs, and you have the exchange programs. The difference in the price between when Obamacare was put in to where it is now, exchanges have went up 3 times more. 3 times more. That's the affordable healthcare. That's absolutely absurd. It's not working, and the Democrats should be able to say that affordable healthcare is unaffordable. What the president has said is, and he's put it out there, he's put it on Truth Social, let's get healthcare working for the American people. I can make it work. Let's get in there and make a deal.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's going to be able to do it, it's be President Trump. So I don't think he's concerned about it. I think American people know that healthcare is unaffordable now. You can call it affordable healthcare.
A lot of families.
Yes, but
like a mortgage.
I provide health insurance for my mom and dad, and my wife and I spend $987 a month on each one. On each one. Now they're 79 years old.
Right.
Their health care isn't great, but that's crazy how much we spend. When I first started providing health insurance for my employees back in 1997, our insurance was $75 a month. It may have been $78 a month, but let's just say $75 a month. We had a $250 deductible and a $25 copay on prescriptions and doctor visits. And it wasn't an 80-20 plan. I mean, I pay $987 now, and I have a $5,000 deductible. I think it's a $250 copay each month on prescriptions, which they got a ton of prescriptions, and I pay it's an 80-20 plan. I mean, that's just it doesn't have insurance. You might as well not have insurance. It might be catastrophic insurance. So I don't really care if it becomes a political issue, because I think we win on that one if we're going to talk about that, because we're going to try to fix it and make it to where the markets are free, where we have competitors coming back in it that's actually working for you, and you get to choose a healthcare plan that's right for you, not for everybody else.
I'm going to ask you, I have like just about 3 more questions, but this next one kind of goes with healthcare. The idea is it's not always 100%, but if you take care of your body, if you're healthy, then you don't need to go to those doctors as often as we don't want to. So one of the things is about your bipartisan workout group meetings that you lead. You once said that if people start talking politics during them, you make them do burpees. So I wanted to ask you, has anyone had to do that and thrown up? Have you had any member throw up?
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to call Joe Kennedy Chucky. Because he would throw up all the time. It was really because at one time we had Kirsten Sinema and Martha McSally when they were running against each other in there. And then we had Tom Suozzi and then Seth Moulton and Tulsi Gabbard, who was all, Seth and Tulsi got in the presidential race.
Yes.
And so they would talk politics. And I would smoke them on burpees until they would just shut up. because it's not, I mean, it's 1 hour. We go work out from 6:30 to 7:30. And I mean, 6:30 to 7:30. I want you to be smoked, laying on the mat, just soaking wet at the end of the workout. I don't have time to talk about politics, but it's 1 hour that we don't have to talk about politics.
Yeah, we good for the mental health as well as the physical, right?
Yes, it is. But we there's a bonding that people bond together, and when you're embracing suck, that's what I call it. You know, it's the workout's going to be awful, and that bonding is still there. Christy Nolan was in the workout. You know, Christy Nolan's a very good friend of ours. When it started, we had Kevin McCarthy, Christy Nolan, Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kennedy, Jason Smith, Bruce Westerman, Aaron Schock. I'm trying to think of all my Democrats.
Who do you think is healthier? Is it Democrats, Republicans? Do you have also, is there a member that you think like over 60 that you think is just in incredible shape?
John Canu's in really good shape. I mean, he is in really good shape. But someone that may surprise you is in really good shape is Jerry Moran, for a senator from Kansas. John Grasso, he's in there at 4:30. I get there sometimes at 5:30 in the morning, and he's already there. But they get after it. In the House, you know, there's some House members that still get after it. I'd say the Democrat that's probably works out the most would be Josh Gunheimer. He doesn't miss, and if he does miss, he always calls me and asks me what my workout was. Seth does a really good job too, but Seth can't help it. Seth gets involved in politics. He starts talking politics.
Doing burpees all the time.
Yeah, and they were like, "Shut up."
Let me ask you a little bit of a personal question and advice to young people. So I know the big beautiful bill conversation. It sparks debate over work, jobs, that sort of thing. I want to ask you your perspective. I know you took a different path than some of your colleagues in the Senate. You got your associate's degree in your 30s. I know you took over family business. What was that experience like? And what's your message to millennials and Gen Z folks that are kind of disillusioned by like some sort of work-life balance or what they think that their career plan has to be?
If somebody comes in and interviews with me, they want to know what their work-life balance is, I just laugh. You're probably not the right person to impress, right? I hire you based on a sense of responsibility. And for the generation coming up, my hobbies became work. I had to work. I was on full wrestling scholarship. I had, I kind of had a path forward where I thought I was going. My dad needed help. And so 1 year I'm on full scholarship wrestling, starting on the team the team ended up becoming national champions that year. And I had to walk away from it and start working, and I was in a plumbing truck. Huge difference, right? Walking campus as a full scholarship wrestling athlete to run in a plumbing truck and then get married, which I love that part. It was tough. I mean, a lot of second guessing, but I just kept walking.
Yes.
And work can become a habit, and it can be fun, but your work-life balance is, when do you want to do that? I haven't met too many people that partied in their 20s and 30s that was comfortable in their 50s and 60s.
Yes.
And so at some point, where are you going to decide that you want to be focused? And that sense of responsibility drives you. And I love it. I love to work. I love it because work provides for my family. And there's nothing that is more gratifying than seeing your kids thrive because of what you've done. Now, that doesn't mean that you work and forget about your kids. My kids are with me all the time.
Right.
They need to know why the parents are working and what they're doing. I took my kids to work with me when I was in front of the company.
And you have 6 kids.
6.
And
I started this career with 3.
It's quite a handful. I have 1, so I don't know how you and your wife right now.
I would have 6 more. I'm not kidding. I'll have 6 more. I will absolutely love it. I love chaos. Chaos is our normal. Yeah.
If you can thrive in chaos, you can thrive anywhere.
That's right.
One of the things too about Gen Z, I guess I'll bring up, I don't have a TikTok. I'm not into TikTok. I heard you just joined.
I did.
So I wanted to ask you specifically, it seems like you're getting a lot of views, even more than CNN prime title on your TikTok. What do you think that says about alternative media? And also, I guess in a larger sense, what does it say about legacy media?
We started it, I'm looking over here, 4 weeks ago. And I think we passed 250,000 followers.
Wow.
We have a lot of videos that are well over 1 million hits. I mean, a lot. And all of them, but most of them go well over 100,000, hundreds of thousands of views. We have fun with it. It took me a while to do it because I was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing it. But I actually have fun, and I got such a good team around me that they make it fun, and they kind of embrace it. And then you see people getting into it, and they'll send you ideas and stuff that you want to do. But then you also got to realize when I first started in business, we did 60-second commercials. In a short few years, we dropped that from in 98 running my first commercial to 2005 for doing 30-second commercials. 2010, we started doing bookends that were 15-second commercials. And that's what the intention span is. Right.
Yes. What do you think that says? I mean, that's good that you had the business background that you can then translate it. Something like TikTok, right?
I think our society is much busier. I mean, with the cell phones, cell phones and technology is supposed to give us more freedom. It doesn't. It keeps us connected 24/7. And so since you have so much stuff going at you, you don't have that time to pause. So you have to get your talking points quick. And that's what you can do on social media. You can give some really quick fact talking points. People can grab it and move on. And if they choose to, and if it's something that's entertaining, it helps. One thing that helped us a lot is I don't want to mention their names because my team is really good, but we had a young lady that joined our team, and she said we need to start putting, actually the words on
Titles,
radio, titles, yeah. And I was like, what? But then I thought, I watch social media all the time, especially on a plane with the tongue.
You can't sometimes hear, or so you can read. That's very smart.
And that's how a lot of them get their news now. My parents are doing it now.
My mom was on TikTok too. Yes, and I'm not. My
parents are on Instagram. They've moved to TikTok now, but when they find out I'm there, I'm sure they will. And so it's not just the younger generation; it's the older generation because it does speed up information, and I think that's where social media it's here. So you might as well embrace it. You might as well figure out to be a leader in it. I don't ever want to be second to anything. If we're going to do it, let's do it the best. And I think people are responding to it because I think CNN primetime, they have like 560,000 followers. Our last time they're on CNN, we posted it on our social media and we had 1.6 million views. And so that's, and that speaks volume because people are able to get their information without having to watch an hour-long show.
Yes. Yeah. And I think also I think with social media, a lot of truth comes out. I think we saw that sometimes with COVID. Truth. Yeah, that's true. There is misinformation for sure. But I think I have a love-hate relationship with social media because the journalist in me thinks that sometimes there's lots of incorrect information out there. However, I mean, I think about January 6th. I think about some of the people sharing their stories about what happened to them and their prosecutions, COVID, the 2020 election. There just seems to be a lot of information that has gone full circle.
Right.
Russia, for example.
Russia, but you think about your generation, it kind of grew up with social media, right? My kids 100% grew up with it. This AI stuff, they can spot a video and say that's fake.
Yeah.
And it's just like disinformation, that's what you want to use the word, mistruths. My kids can spot it immediately. We're trying to adapt to it. I grew up when the TV still went blank at midnight.
Right.
You just had lines. My parents absolutely did. Mm-hmm. And back then when you watched the news, you just assumed it was the truth. Making this switch to no social media, I think there's a difference between those now with my kids versus us that's having kids, that we're still adapting to, okay, not everything is truthful. They know not everything's truthful.
Yes. That's good. I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, me too. I think that in itself holds the internet accountable.
Well, thank you so much.
I
appreciate your time. Yep. And we'll have to follow you on all your social media.
So, how old is your kid?
She's gonna be 4. And
your girl? 4 years old.
Yeah.
Are you done? You have more?
I think that she might be it.
Really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, my cousin and I got a late start.
Well, it doesn't matter. Now listen, we have 3 that came natural and 3 we chose. So I mean,
That's true. That is true. That's always a conversation.
yeah, it has been the best thing ever. As I said, we got 3 that we got stuck with and 3 that we chose. So we just want to thank you other note.
That's awesome.
It is wonderful.
That is wonderful. Yes, children are a blessing for sure. Thank you.